All right, hello and welcome to this live stream, people. I wanted to title today's live stream, Your Greatness Awaits. Mainly because I've been reading this book. It's called, the name of the book is, what was the name of the book? Um, the name of the book is Be Your Future Self Now. The name of the book is Become Your Future Self Now, and I thought it was a great book. And the whole idea around that book, I'm going to summarize that as a motivational idea in the first few moments of this live stream. The whole idea of that book is that there is a positive effect on your life if you imagine your current life as if it were where you want it to be. So, say that that in 30 years from now, you would love to be one of the greatest magicians on the planet, just as an example, right? Say in 30 years from now, you want to be known as one of the greatest magicians who ever lived or on the planet. And by really stepping into that experience, how you feel or believe that experience would be like, if you're able to do that, if you're able to become your future self now in that sense, then you can have some really positive impact on your life. You can have some really positive benefits. You can start to notice really positive movements towards your goal. So that's what I mean by your greatness awaits. Your greatness, your success, your opportunities, your hopes, dreams, the things you want to be, do, have, all of those things that are part of your greatness, they are waiting for you. And you just have to, it's waiting for you. The future you is waiting for you to take action on those things that your future you would have wanted you to do. Sometimes I think that's a really interesting concept. To imagine yourself if you had everything that you wanted to have, everything, if you knew all the people that you wanted to know, if you were just like living that experience, that future you, if you're living that experience and you're looking back at yourself presently, what is it that you would actually do at this very moment? I think that's a really powerful question. And it's a really interesting concept. So this is a painting I made yesterday. We're not going to do this painting. We're going to do a different one. But I got to get my references together. I haven't gotten my references together yet. But I was just so inspired by myself. Haha, that's a little bit of a joke. I was so inspired. It's a little ego joke. Haha, egotism joke. Joke about the ego. Inspired by myself. Just kidding. I was inspired by that book, as I mentioned in the first few minutes of this video. I just had to come and talk about it. And which means I skipped a step. And I did not prepare myself, my references. So that's what I'm doing right now. Let's get some references. Crazy Sins, nice art. Thank you, Steven Renner. Painting is awesome. Appreciate you, dude. Don't even know how to do that. You just subbed and liked. Awesome. Well, Crazy Sins. One thing is, my channel is not a tutorial channel. However, you may discover things along the way because I do talk about the process, and sometimes you might find some surprising ideas, but ultimately, this is one of those things where, like, you can't really teach it the same way you might learn it in school, right? It's not like a thing where, you can get the basics, like getting your reference, right? Getting your paint supplies, but this exact way of doing things isn't like a specific, like, way to do things, right? You probably won't be able to, no, I probably won't even be able to achieve this same exact look in some of these areas because I do totally different things sometimes. So just putting that out there. This is not a tutorial channel. I don't teach artwork on this live stream, but I do talk about it a lot. And from there, I think just having your thoughts while I have my thoughts is enough to give people a beneficial and helpful live stream along the way. So that's ultimately what I aim to do. And let's see, did I send in all of my, didn't get all my references yet. What happened to my references? Oh. Can I show us some more of my art? Yeah, absolutely, man. Oh, yeah, here's a, oh, thanks for reminding me, Crazy. Oh my goodness, Crazy. Oh, thank you for asking that question. You reminded me I have to, on this live stream, I have to plug one of my most recent pieces, which is on sale via my eBay as a print. So you can get a print of my last painting. Let me see. Where is it? Where art thou? Where art thou? Did I not save it? No. Dang, I must not have saved it. What? Hold on one moment here. Gosh. Whatever did I do? Hold on. Yes. How long have I been painting? So I started in digital art. I started in digital art like 6 years ago, I want to say, maybe 5 or 6 years ago. Can't really remember a specific date. And that's how I started. And then I got into painting about going on 3 years ago. So I've been painting for over 2 years and got into painting a little over, estimating about 3 years ago. But here we go. No, that's a LinkedIn post. Oh my God. Why do all these websites have to make link finding hard? You want to know why everyone is skipping my channel? Oof, that's a great question. This is a self-portrait, actually. Let me make sure that this goes to the right place. Is it link clickable? Oh, got a little disconnected here. All right, so let me show you this painting. Like everyone normally is always like doing Asmir gameplay. There are people trying stuff unique, and then they just skip. You know, like honestly, there's like, it's just sometimes weirdness. It has a hard time finding an audience, and I wouldn't really call this weird. It's just different. So, let me show a painting here, but actually I have to message something real quick, otherwise we're gonna have a delay in our show here, and I don't want to delay anything. So let's go select album. I'm gonna go Adobe Express. So 1, 2, 3 references, and then time to download my references. Here we go. Downloading the references. How do I download this? Can't download it on Instagram? Come on now. But yeah, Crazy. What brings you to this channel? What caught your eye? Was it the unusual painting, or what was it that caught your attention on a Friday night, or maybe it's Saturday? If you're in Australia, I think it's probably Saturday, right? If you're in Australia, if you're in China. Alexa, what time is it in Hong Kong, China right now?
In Hong Kong, it's 8:22 a.m.
So Hong Kong, it's 8:22 a.m. So I think that would mean that it's tomorrow, Sunday. If you're in Australia. Alexa, what time is it in Sydney, Australia right now?
In Sydney, it's 10:22 a.m.
All right, before we keep on talking, let's put some gloves on first. Let's get our supplies open. I'm going to show one painting again before we get started here. Here's a fun painting. I have a couple paintings actually back here. Show a couple paintings. There's another self-portrait from back in the day. We've got cats. That's why we have that. Is there a cat on the couch? A little painting back there. Not this thing. This is something else. This thing right here is something else. But these things right here are paintings. I have another group of paintings right over here. That one I finished recently. I really like. And let me show a couple more paintings right now. This is the painting that's for sale right now on our page. This is the painting that's the print is for sale. This is called Man Lamenting the Aftermath. I really like this painting. I really like doing this painting. It's based on one of my favorite movies, which is what was it? One of my favorite movies, Ichi the Killer. It's a famous Japanese action flick. And let me find a good canvas. I need to paint over the canvas. So I'm trying to find a good canvas to paint over. You know, I finished this painting like a week ago, and I don't really like it, so I'm gonna paint over this thing. You need to see my cats. It's Brisbane. It's 10:22. Very cool on a Sunday, and you're looking at art. Yeah, so it's 5:30 right now p.m. My cats are all napping. This is their nap time. My cats like to nap at this hour because I fed them a little late. I fed them a late lunch. They eat breakfast mostly about 3 meals a day. Sometimes they save their food and they don't eat all their food, so they'll have like 4 or 5 meals a day. But I've got 4, and they're all literally all sleeping. Sometimes I live stream and they're sleeping nearby, but they're all in the bedroom right now. So I can't really show them right now. But one day, if you follow the stream long enough, you just might catch a glimpse. Actually, you know what? That's almost a guarantee. There's not many guarantees in life, but if you watch my live streams long enough, there's pretty much you're almost guaranteed to see a cat at some point. Oh, and you know what? Like, here's the other thing. I know they're sleeping right now. I could totally just wake them up. I'm happy to pick them up and wake them up, but I already put my gloves on and stuff, and you know, I try to avoid handling paint and handling cats at the same time. So let's go like this. So the name of this painting is actually The Creation of Light. And this was a little series that I did just for fun, just to play with some old drawings. So this is based on a drawing from like 1550, and I just wanted to take whatever drawings I could find available and make a painting from them. But they had to be public domain images, like images that I can actually use without too much consequence. One, two, one. I gotta open 1, 2, and then 3. So I've got 3 photos here, which are going to be my references. So crazy, are you looking to be, are you an artist? Do you paint? Do you draw? What is it that interests you in art? Because I know when I was 14, I was not watching art streams. I was playing SOCOM 2. Great game. Love SOCOM 2. Wonderful game. Let me see if I can open images. Where's there another one? All right. Once you drew a landscape, crazy scene. You live and you just see cats you wish you could buy, but 14. Oh, well, rest in peace for your cat. Drew a little bit. Omizu says, uh-oh, what? What happened, Omizu? What's going on? All right, let's start painting. I've been talking and setting up and all that. That's one reason why you shouldn't start streaming if you want to make art, is there is a lot of setup. And even some days, like, I just want to paint. You know, there are some days when I just want to paint. But I also feel like I have to live stream. I've actually become quite dependent on my live streams because I like to turn back to look at the camera and see the progress on my painting on a small screen. It gives me a different perspective. And I've become quite dependent on it. But, you know, it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, they both kind of go hand in hand for me now, and I can't have one without the other. And it's tough because, like, some days I want to paint, but I don't want to stream, or, you know, it's just first world problems, right? First world problems. So let's see how I want to do this. I'm going to use a different brush than I usually start with. I'm going to start with this brush. This is a Da Vinci Black Sable brush. Painting over another piece. Yes, that's right. We are doing a paint over. So how do we want to start this here? Let's go. We've got a lot of white, and we've got our red, and we've got some pink. So let me start with a good fleshy color. Let me grab a palette knife. My paint smells so strong right now. Let me air out the room a little bit real quick. I don't have my doors open because it's summertime and this sun just comes through my door at the end of the day. And it's just so bright right now. Which can be helpful, but like the sun just comes bursting on through every orifice of this side of the apartment that I gotta keep it closed at least until the evening. But here we go. Let's start taking paint. I want to do this time a little differently. I'm gonna lay down a red, and we're gonna grab some of our yellow ochre, and we're gonna blend this. We're gonna grab some blue, white. We're gonna try to find like a good pink, yellow, ochre color. Nice fleshy color. That's what I'm going for here. You know what? Instead of a brush, let's just paint with a sponge. How does that sound? I want to paint with a sponge. Done using brushes. Let's use a sponge here. So how do I want to start this? Let's start with our most obvious shape here. I'm going to take a nice little sponge, dip our sponge into this right here, use this color. We're just going to go, let's go right along the side here. I'm going to elongate my head here. Painting with a sponge. Oh, it's nice to go. You know, you're right. I took photos though. That's what photos are for. And let's grab some more of this sponge. And we're just going to lay down some areas of color where we're going to have some. And I'm going to be doing this a little looser right now rather than trying to find it, trying to get too tight and clean on the shapes and stuff. So we're going to go like this. I guess, like, you know, it is one of those things. Love painting. Staying in a stream. Photos don't always show how you get. That's true. You're right, Omizu. You're right. But you know what? Like, I like the idea. You know, part of my creative philosophy is also taking this idea of the impermanence of things, right? Now, I don't do that with all my work. There's work that I definitely like and I don't want to change. And the true test of my philosophy will one day when I do change the art pieces that I really like. But for now, you know, I will say part of my artist philosophy is, you know, to play with this idea of the impermanence of things. You know, there are things that are impermanent. And part of that is to make sure that I don't get too precious with some of my paintings, which, you know, might prevent me from, you know, doing things with them, you know? I don't want to get too precious. Don't want to be too precious. I'm a precious artist. Everything's so precious. I have to save everything for eternity because everything's so brilliant. Everything I do is the best on earth. I am a certified genius and everything should be saved forever because someone's going to want to pay millions and millions of dollars in the future for it. That's my, I don't know what voice that was. I could totally use that as like a video game character. What kind of video game character would you see using that voice? Exactly somebody who would think that they're a certified genius and that all of their brilliant masterpieces should be saved forever. That's exactly the voice of somebody who would think that. Someone who's who believes they're a certified genius. They're a little bit delusional, but you know, maybe they kind of suck. You know, I don't know. Am I being mean? You're being mean, Emmett. You're being mean. You're making fun of people. You're making fun of things. All right, let's grab some white here. We're just gonna go. My work is precious. My work is valuable. My work is so valuable. I need to save it forever. I need a conservator. You know what really sucks? Just in this subject of the impermanence of things is I met one artist. I wanted to say a lot of artists, but really I just met one artist. And she lost all of her work pretty much all of her work except for like 10 pieces in the Los Angeles fires. And she's actually like a talented artist. She had gallery rep, but she just kept all of her artwork at home for whatever reason. She wanted to keep it at home. And she lost all of it. All of it is gone. And what do you do in that situation, right? Like, maybe me painting over is not only a reflection of my philosophy of not being overly precious with my artwork, but also reflective of the fear of loss. Maybe it's a fear, this like almost like a fear of commitment where you don't want to commit to something because you're scared. Like, I don't want to feel this over connection to a piece, because not only do I want to sell it at some point, and I wouldn't really want to sell it. I don't think this, I mean, you could probably find this piece on a postcard, but I don't really see myself selling this piece, so I decided to paint over it. It's a better story. A lot of art is about storytelling. So here we go, and there's some texture on it. So there we go. Overall, not only does it reflect my philosophy. Oh yeah, but back to that idea of, what if it's a fear of commitment? What if it's a personal fear of commitment where I'm, truly just afraid to believe that, that one day, or maybe it's my fear that one day my pieces are gonna catch on fire anyway, in the off chance, and that I should just paint over, because what does it all really matter? What's it matter, huh? Does it any of it matter? Does it any of it actually matter? It all does. It all matters. So I'm using a sponge here. A sponge. My precious sponge. If I'm still live when you come back, you'll definitely be coming back. Hey, take care. Enjoy the party. I am live multiple times a week, so you will definitely find me at some point. Take care. Hope you have a wonderful time with your family. Hope you have some good times with your families. All right, so this color is a black. So let me grab some of this blue, and we're gonna go with a blue shadow right into here. I guess I'm not gonna paint it all blue, but I just want to use up some of this blue just to create some shadow regions within this painting here. And here we go. We're gonna go down with some blue on this side. It does and it doesn't. What does and what doesn't? What you mean? What you mean by that? What you mean by it does and it doesn't? Let's go right into here. We're gonna make this disappear a little bit. Okay, and we're gonna pull out some of the heavy guns now. No real guns are used in this live stream. I'm just using a brush. We're gonna grab this blue. And here we go. let's see, how do I want to find some colors? I'm definitely going to need some black, but I don't want to, just as a reminder to myself, as I'm talking through these things, some of these things I'm just telling myself because I remember what I did last time that felt like a mistake. So I don't want to repeat the same mistake. But basically, a reminder to myself is to try to use black last, because what'll happen is it'll start to blend into all the different colors and it'll make it very hard to paint over. And here we go. Let's get to painting, baby. Let's get to painting. It's time to get to work, everybody. But hey, let's do this. Let's talk about this idea again. That your greatness awaits you, everyone, everybody. All of your greatnesses await you. All of the wonderful things that you want to be, do, or have, it is all awaiting you. Just imagine yourself, and I'm taking this idea from a book called Be Your Future Self Now. Great read, very inspiring. But it's called Become Your Future Self Now. And basically the idea is that, you know, how would you be if, let's say, the future you, 60, 30, 100 years from now, that you got everything that you've ever wanted, right? All of your dreams have come true, and you are exactly where you wished you could be. And the question is, and the question goes, what would you tell your, and you were advising your current self. You're trying to tell your current self like what he could do, what you could do, what she could do in order to succeed. What would you tell yourself right now to do? Who would be the person that you would have to call? What is the action that you would actually go take right now? It's a really, really helpful question, I think. Because it really, so like, you know, if you just imagine your future self talking to you, your 70, 80, 90-year-old self, some of you might be older, so, you know, maybe your 120-year-old self. Maybe your 120-year-old self would tell you, if you're 80 or 90 years old, to tell you, hey, go for a walk, you know? Talk to your doctor. Ask them if it's okay for you to go for a walk. Or if you need a wheelchair, right? Go to the park. Go pet a dog or something. But all of us, after reading the book, I came to this conclusion that most people, if they like sit long enough and try to observe and think about, you know, what it takes to get to where they want to go, most people have the answer. A lot of people have their own answers. That is true. That I believe. It does and it doesn't. It does and it doesn't matter. It matters, but it doesn't matter. Da, da, na, na, na. Okay, here we go. Friday night. Happy Friday night or Saturday morning, everyone. Happy Saturday morning. I'm having a great Friday night. Anytime I have the opportunity to do some painting is a wonderful, wonderful evening. because I definitely realize that there are some people who don't have the luxury to paint on a Friday night. They don't have the luxury to paint ever. At least they feel that way, you know? So I'm very lucky to have this opportunity. I want to thank my YouTube viewers, those of you here right now. I want to thank everyone involved with this channel, Omizu for being my professional shill. I pay him lots and lots of money to tell people how great my artwork is, even though he doesn't do a great job of doing that. He still gets paid. Totally kidding. Disclaimer: Omizu does not get paid to be here, just in case anybody is actually taking that seriously. But in an imaginary system, an imaginary world, I believe that I pay Omizu in imaginary money. Much better than Monopoly money, because Monopoly money you can't really do much with, except play Monopoly. But imaginary money, you know, you can give people hope. And when people have hope, they can do amazing things. Hope is a hell of a drug. So let's see. There's my mustache, my mustachio. And here we go. So precious, Mr. Precious. Okay, here, let's go. And let's get some, so that's going to be the blues, that's going to be the black. Let's find my brushes to use for red. Actually, let me use a thicker brush for my red. Right, this is Filbert. Let me use a smaller Filbert brush. I'm going to use my ruined Filbert brush for the rest of this red color. So let's go use my palette knife to pick colors up and put colors down. And let's go like this. Scrub, scrub, scrub some paint on my palette, or onto my looks like a pig. I look like a pig in this photo. Let me go. I need a pink and I need a good white. Good brush for my white. Use this brush. Let's grab some of this white color here. And let's see. Gonna get into some of this right now. Let's get to our lips right here. And we're gonna go with some lighter ochres. I want to make sure that I keep this fairly impasto. And here you go. Getting some dimension on my figure here. This is a self-portrait. Let's take some bold colors. I think I've been a little too gentle so far. Thus far, I want to grab a white, grab this pink. We're just gonna smudge some of this area. Here we go. All right, that's a good little smudge right there. Let's go into the pink right here. Let's try to find some good mixtures of like pink and yellow. So we're gonna come right over here, go in hard with our yellow. And grab our pink. Very fleshy. We need a nice expressive line right here. And let's see, we're gonna find another white line. I'm gonna go from here down, just straight, boom. Right like that. Let me add a little blue highlight. Need to work on these lips a little bit, so that's the shadow. So I want to go right underneath the lip a little bit right there. And then I want to highlight this with some pink. I'm going to add that into here. Oops, nah, I'm not going to use that color. Let's use a clean brush. Let's get right into that section right there. Okay. So we're going to add some black later. Some newer color zones. find these areas. These areas are just pinks. Need to make some teeth in here. How do I find this color on my face right here? We're gonna grab yellow ochre, mix in with some more of our pink here. We're just gonna find this fleshy tone right here. Then we're going to grab our white, grab our yellow ochre. I need to cover some large areas of space. So let me just, you know what, let's just take this and we're going to just wipe it down. Like so. Wipe it down like so. Grab our sock. We're just going to spread it with our sock here. Why am I using a sock? I don't know. I want to like capture just the variety of details that you just can't do with a brush. You know, I often look at some paintings and I'm like, how did that artist achieve it? And some of the things that fascinate me is where I feel like it's actually impossible to achieve with a brush. And most of the time, I think it's right. Like, you know, there's some effects you just can't achieve with a brush. And although I don't necessarily know if I'm achieving that effect that I want without a brush, I could definitely say that I feel like I'm probably definitely achieving more than is possible with the brush. So let's go paint into here. The only problem with painting with absorbable objects like a sock is that I think it picks up a lot of paint, and so much paint goes on a sock instead of the canvas. So you gotta do stuff to it. You gotta do stuff to your painting. Can you imagine that? You actually have to do stuff to your painting to make it look the way you want it to look. And here's the scary part, you know, although right now I don't really have a specific way that I want it to look. I don't know. I mean, there's a way, not gonna lie, there's a way, but I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to totally, fully achieve exactly how I want it. So part of me is just, you know, going, what do I need to do right now in order to get as close to as possible to what I would like? What I would like to see. So we're going to grab some red here. And we're just going to go right down. Where's the chin? Chin's right there. So we're just going to go down into here with our red. Let's see, more red right here. Where would be a good place to have a red? Right here. Got some shadows right there. Go around. Okay. Now let's grab some black. And we're going to grab our black and just go around with this. We're going to take our black and we're going to take our gray. We're just going to lay it down around. And let's take a brush. Take a brush, and we're going to dip it in a little bit of mineral spirit just to get it wettened, so we can have some fun with the paint rather than just letting it get stuck most of the way. So the brush is wet with mineral spirits, and I'm just gonna paint in around our painting. So the mineral spirit on the brush just helps me to spread the paint. That's it. There's no other reason. I think technically you could use oil for this. I could technically use oil for this, but I love mineral spirits. I don't like the smell sometimes. It's supposed to be odorless mineral spirits, but there always ends up being a smell. You can't avoid it. There's always a smell. Although sometimes I wonder if it's just the oil. You know, some of my oil getting old. And it's just, anytime you add like a background, especially if it's on like a different colored canvas, you can start to like, you can really start to unify an entire painting. And just a little bit more will go a long way in helping us identify some of these areas. Just not really identify, but to separate some of the areas. And I'm just going to go around. Now I got to figure out how I'm going to make this look different. Before we do that, I see some brown in my future. Let's try to grab some of this pink with the gray. We're gonna mesh this to become my hair. Does that look like hair? Yo, Danny E, you've been watching and working on another piece you just posted. Oh, yeah? You're all right, cool. Hey, if you just posted it on Instagram, you know what that means. Unless you stop me, I'm gonna share it. Let's share it. Let's all look at Danny E's masterpiece on Instagram. Hold on one second. Let me do like a couple more brush marks because I'm working on my hair. But yeah, thanks, Danny, for sharing. We all know we all want to see it. We all want to see Danny's piece. Yes, that's right. Let's go see. Let's go see. Time to see what Danny E has been up to in this past week. Let's grab some of this color and we're just going to go in with this. All right, here we go. Am I done with this brush? Yes, hopefully. Hopefully I'm done with this brush. Let's go take a look. All right, unless Danny attempts to stop me, we're going to pull up a masterpiece. Speaking of which, I was a fan of your Witcher interesting drawing. So, all right, here we go. Looking 411. Look at that. Dated. With what a cool signature. I think every artist needs like a cool like two symbol signature. But that's awesome. Great to see getting the color work. It's got a nice little copper detail there, copper clip. I'm sure it's on some really nice paper. It looks like some really what do they call it? Low grain paper or whatever. Basically like the really fancy stuff. Somebody's working on the really fancy stuff. I don't actually know who that is, but you know. So here's a cool thing though that I find fascinating with some artists is that I have a really difficult time drawing straight edges or hard angles on like faces. And I find it really fascinating when people do that because
I think it's a skill. That's how a lot of really great artists draw. Egon Schiele, Vincent van Gogh has corners on so many of his paintings, and I just find it to be really fascinating when artists can like really lean into an interesting design with their corners and things like that. But hey, yo, so there we go. There's a little plug for Danica, Danica Studio _studio. That's on Instagram. Very nice. Oh yeah, hold on. Oh yeah, we forgot to double tap, right? You always got to double tap. Let's double tap. Oh, I already like that one. Double tap. Didn't see that one. Double tap. See, I like all her stuff. Double tapped on everything already. All right. See, Danny, I'm running out of things to double tap on. So can you work a little faster, please? I'm running out of things to double tap on. My fingers are getting anxious. Ugh. All right, let's do some work here. Let's get cereal. Let's get cereal. What song is that from? I feel like that's like an 80s song that I was just physical. Let's get physical. Let's get physical. Let's get physical. Let's get physical. Getting physical. I'm gonna grab some blues. Need some blues in here. All right. So how do I navigate this head right now? We're gonna go grab some of this black, and we're literally just gonna use our piece in here. Am I making a Dodgers jersey? Am I painting a Dodgers jersey on my person? Yeah, Dodgers, go Dodgers. Dodgers for life. All right, so let's go start from here. We're gonna go in. We're going to use our white and go run up on this. I'm going to use our white again and come in a little bit like so. I want to get two. This painting is asking for a microphone. Oh, because my mouth is, because I'm singing my tunes, singing my tunes, singing my tunes, singing my tunes, toony tunes. All right, let's find a little bit of blue here. We'll grab our blue. We're just gonna go boom, boom. Let's see, how do we do this area? We're gonna go let's get a little bit of this gray, and we're gonna mix in here. Let me try to figure out this space right here. So much gray. My painting's just becoming a gray painting. Had more color and detail earlier, but I don't necessarily know if detail makes this a good painting. So let's see. Alrighty. I'm gonna go like this. And you know what? We're gonna put on Mr. Sacco. We're gonna try to find a couple more areas with which to bring in our black. Let's grab some red right now. Slowly using up all my quinacridone rose. Lots and lots of quinacridone rose. So put this somewhere. Let's see what we can find here. We're going to grab this, try to find some red highlights, some places where we can just add nice little areas of red to spice things up. Add some more of these reds. Let's just go right there. Let's intersperse between yellow and red. Now I wonder if the truth about some artists who primarily only did self-portraits was because it's really hard to do a portrait of somebody, convince them to pay you to do a portrait of them in this way, in like an experimental way, right? You either already have to be really, really, really well known, which means you either convince somebody or you got very, 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 very well known for the portraits that you painted of yourself, and people are just so fascinated by it that they wanted to purchase one. But it's really hard for me to even have a friend be like, hey, can I paint you like this? And fortunately I do have friends that would probably let me, but still, it's that idea that when you're supposed to paint somebody, usually don't want to be experimenting in this way. Although I've totally done that before. So we got some line work. Now we want to add some reds. Let me use a paper towel for this part. Yo, Tarico, what's going on? Good old Tarico is here. Tarico is here. Tarico, Derico. Tarico is here, everybody. Let's all celebrate. Time to celebrate, celebrate. All right. I'm trying to, I was, you know, I was trying to think of words that rhyme with Tarico, but all I could think of was instead of trying that, let me just say the word Tarico a bunch of times. That's why I kept repeating your name, because I couldn't think of a single word at this moment that rhymes with Tarico. Tarico, Monaco, Bellagio. What's another word that rhymes with Tarico? Bellagio. Bellagio is a good word that rhymes with Tarico. Looking like a clown here. How do I make this look less clown-like? ColecoVision. Cole-O was a very early video game console from the very early 80s. Steve Biko, Coleco, Tarico. Exactly what Coleco. Gallico. Calico. I think a lot more Spanish words probably rhyme with co. All right, this whole like left side of my face needs a little bit of erasure. I'm ready to like, it's just like too. Too much color. Let's grab some gray. I'm reaching a point where I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm like, I think I'm trying too hard. I'm trying too hard to get a certain aesthetic. And I think the biggest problem is my color theory. Even I commit, sometimes I try too hard, and the end result is just looks way too obvious, like I tried too hard to achieve something. So then instead I just get really weird with my painting. No, didn't really do anything. What should I do? See, even when you have the references, sometimes doesn't mean jack. Doesn't mean anything when you have those. Your worst critic sometimes. Yeah. Does not mean jack. You have whatever reference in the world, but it doesn't mean you can actually paint it. Let's see here. Did everybody just hear my cat? What's up, Scout? Huh? You hear the dogs? Are you concerned about the dogs? Concerned about the doggos, huh? You want to go play with them? You want to go play with some dogs? I think this looks too accurate now. Hmm. Can you step away from this for a moment? Bring in some of the big guns. Maybe I just need to soften some of this. How do you study to do paintings like this? Or how do you like practice paintings like this without wasting lots and lots and lots of paint? I don't think you can. Is there a theory to it? Wouldn't it just be nice if I could just master this aesthetic on like the first go? Why can't I master things on a first try? I should just give up right now because I can't master it on the first try. I'm joking, by the way. This is me being not serious. Why can't things just happen for me exactly the way I want it to? Life would be so much better that way. Like, if life could just be exactly what I would like it to be, the world would be such a better place. There would be, everybody would be wealthy. Everybody would be rich and happy. Everybody would smile every single day. There would be no such thing as death. No such thing. Just not being serious, everybody. I had fantasies like a child. Everyone would achieve every goal they ever wanted. Hard edge? What do you mean going more hard edge? What are you saying? I think you're onto something. Mizu is always on to something. Is always on to solving some some amazing life mystery. We all need an Omizu in our live stream. Everybody. That means you, and you. All right, let's see. Let's tighten this up. Let's use a brush. Where can we do some blues here? So Tariko, you got any new songs? Tariko's probably not here. You still here, Tariko? Probably not. It's all good. I stopped talking. I usually stop talking when I'm thinking far too much. Peeling apart my brush here. Honestly, sometimes I don't know how my brushes get stuck together because I wash them. I like rinse them very thoroughly quite often. For whatever reason, they always somehow get some paint on, get stuck. I think I'm way off the mark here. Got an idea. Let's go with the blue. And at this point, I'm thinking, I don't know where I'm going to go with this. So I'm just going to, desperate times call for desperate measures. I'm just going to do pretty much whatever I feel like experimenting with. All right, I'm gonna have to start another one. This one is quite bad. Let it dry and try again. I'm meandering, yeah. I'm a little lost. Let me try on a fresh canvas. Maybe that'll help. Just take a photo of this monstrosity here. And honestly, the secret might just be to like paint these portraits over multiple sittings. I don't know. Now let me find a good dry brush. I'm gonna try a slightly different approach here. The approach being that I want to use a dry brush, like a really dry brush. Let's see if this brush works. This used to be one of my favorite brushes, but it's become so stiff. It might be good for this purpose. And I don't necessarily want to wet it because I don't want it to undry. But this might be just what I need, like a really stiff, dry brush. Let's do some Asmir. All right, there's the Asmir for the day. Try to find that same color that we did earlier, but I gotta clean off this brush before I do anything. No, I might actually do another paint through of everything. So actually, let me keep that brush. Let me just see. I'm gonna use a really dry brush here. Get back into this pink color, grab a bunch of our white, mix in this yellow, grab some of our red. Hopefully the red doesn't stay too much. We get more of our yellow. So this brush is like really, really stiff. I feel like I'm falling into the same trap. We'll find out. We'll find out. Let's see. Let's see. Let's go. What color is this? I think it's looking, actually, you know what? Now I'm actually thinking it's looking okay. We'll see as we continue. I really like the color variations. Patience as we build. Let's get some Asmir sounds going. Someone mentioned that I don't do Asmir earlier, and here I am doing some Asmir. ASMR. You know what, maybe what I'll do is I'll work my way inward. Or can we find some white here? So these are used for every brush. I almost did this. This is almost the brush I threw away. This might even work better if I had like a spray. You know, like if I was able to spray this. Let me try to go for a paint down again. I use a Payne's gray. Actually, you know what? Let's try to use up the rest of our Van Dyke brown too. All right, this is probably gonna be the last big space I'm gonna cover tonight. So let me go put my brush away. Put this brush away. Ah, you think it's interesting. Well, thank you. I only seek to entertain, not paint anything. Just to entertain. I guess that's one good thing about streaming as an artist is like, you know, sometimes you don't have to like feel pressured to prove a painting skill or anything. Sometimes, like, you know, you just gotta entertain people. Which is why I think that one guy who does the spinny pour art is so popular, is because he just entertains people. He only needs to make one video a day of him pouring paint on a huge canvas. And that is entertainment. I need another hard brush again. Let's go with this one. This one is a soft hard brush. Let's do some let's do some paper towel work. I'm gonna go rotate between our red and our pink and our yellow. I don't know. Need a break. It's crazy how quickly things change. Art as entertainment. I mean, isn't all entertainment art at some fundamental level? Is art not entertainment? Hold on, there's something there that you said that is interesting. Because I think it's interesting how wasn't all art a form of entertainment? I mean, when you couldn't when before the advent of pictures and everything. I mean, before like cameras and movies and everything, how were we entertained? There were movies. something needs to go here. Hmm.
All right, this might be a good start. I might just gonna have to come back. Not might just. I definitely have to come back at a later time. I need a break. My mind needs a break. I did not have sexual relations with that woman. That's my Bill Clinton voice. Har har. Ha 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 ha. Ah. You know, one day I'm gonna have an opportunity to go through all these paintings again and just like touch them up really nicely. They'll have the foundations, and because it's oil, you know, giving it time to dry, letting ideas linger. That's the one thing about oil painting that I think is a good lesson, is that it teaches this idea of, you know, what you paint now can potentially reap rewards later. Not because you could sell the painting, right? It's not the whole like, so reap now and so, but reap because you're gonna have an opportunity to repaint your stuff later. In fact, you might even have to in a lot of cases, because paint needs time to dry. I mean, oil paint needs time to dry. Some, I guess, acrylic doesn't really need as much time to dry. But definitely oil paint needs time to dry. And because of that, you know, the stuff you paint now, even if it doesn't turn out exactly how you want it, I think if you give it some time, and you allow it to sit, you can paint it again later. So there's the beauty in that. There it is. There is beauty in the oil painting. So we're gonna start wrapping up our materials. Got some cats to feed. Hope everyone has a good night. If Omizu, I don't know if you're streaming right now, but Omizu live streams too, so you know what? Why not raid Omizu? I wish YouTube made it easier to like interact with the live streaming community. I guess, you know, it can't be easier than like, hey, you know, just jumping into a channel and just joining the community.
but it's not as like, there's not many external tools to be able to like as Twitch. But of course YouTube doesn't want to be Twitch, but it can. It could, you know, it could put up a good fight. I mean, if anything, you know, I learned this one thing. If you can't be number 1 or number 2 in a category or in a field, then, you know, it's probably not worth doing it in your niche, becoming number 1 or number 2. And YouTube can definitely probably be number 1 or number 2. They just have to put in the effort, but I don't think they need it. So that said, you know, happy Friday, everybody. Gonna take a breather, and see you all later. Not a bad impression. Thank you. Take care, everyone.